Hello, my name is Reveler, and this is full review of Arknights Endfield. At the start, let me tell you, I am a casual learning player. I do not rush content, and in fact, I haven't fully explored everything yet, nor have I optimized the factory. I want to provide information in terms of pros and cons, so let's start with pros. The first thing anyone notices is the graphics. The world is beautiful, vast, even in areas unreachable on foot, and full of details. You can clearly see the craftsmanship put into each map. Objects are well placed, structures are uniquely designed and properly scaled. You won't get that cheap feeling of a city that's big in lore but only has a few buildings on the map. The biggest city so far, Wuling, is literally big and designed in a practical way. Small houses with little gardens and solar panels on the roofs, educational, cultural and shopping districts, stairs that lead naturally from one area to another. There is no visible copy-pasting of buildings randomly connected together. It feels like a well-planned, functional place that could exist in real life. Places are populated by NPCs, going about their daily tasks and living their lives, adding immensely to the sense of immersion. Outside of cities and camps, you can explore open fields, moving bamboo forests, lakes of Wuling or rocky cliffs and caverns of Valley 4. Weather changes affect characters' clothing, and the bloom effect used throughout the maps sell the realism beautifully, making every location feel rich and atmospheric. Impressive graphics don't come at the cost of performance, at least on PC. There were no issues with the game or servers, no lags, glitches or crashes. The game is polished and runs incredibly smoothly. Character models are highly detailed and expressive, with fluid animations. There are even small touches like subtle eye movements that make otherwise static scenes feel alive. Voice acting is one of the strongest aspects of the game. Voices are perfectly chosen for each character, and the use of varied accents makes it even better.
They won't just come and leave as they please.
The story is simple and straightforward. The prologue hooks you right away, which is the most important part, and as you progress, the narrative becomes even more interesting. What needs to be pointed out is the simplicity. There is no flood of incomprehensible terms that some other games introduce to players and then try to force into the lore. Here, terminology makes sense and is explained naturally through the story rather than requiring a wiki dive. This allows players to understand the world coherently and organically. Being part of the established Arknights universe helps, but you can still easily follow the story without any prior knowledge of the original game. Exploration is genuinely enjoyable. Collectibles are placed in various spots, encouraging you to look everywhere. There are puzzles, terrain interactions, some backtracking, and the convenience of using other players' ziplines. The best part of traveling is aggro, or lack of it. Even if enemies notice you, you can simply run away from the unwanted fight. In many other games, you are forced to fight by limiting the character's movement speed, so kudos to Hypergriff. The music fits perfectly. During exploration, you mostly hear ambient tracks that complement the visuals, while combat shifts to more dynamic tunes. Combat is simple, flashy and satisfying, though it can become repetitive over time, but that can be said of nearly every game. 120 PT is still a concern for some players, but it's not as bad as it sounds. You have permanent 80 PT, no guarantees. You get only one time per banner 100% chance to get limited character at 120 pulls. After that, there's no guarantee. The devs cut your second attempt in half if you lose at 80, so you don't need to go to 160. But those 40 pulls after 80 doesn't carry to the next banner. In my opinion, this is a fair system. If you saved 120 pulls before pulling, you guarantee the limited unit. It rewards patience and discourages impulsive gambling. Having 3 limited characters in the pool is also nice. If you're unlucky and lose, you might still get another limited unit, turning it into win. 120 pulls for potentially 2 limited characters? Sign me up. As for free currency acquisition, after playing for over 3 weeks, I managed to save 120 pulls. If this rate continues, you could expect around 240 pulls per patch. Right now we get currency from new region exploration customization, tutorials, and the game being generous at launch. Realistically though, with normal patches offering less, getting one guaranteed limited character per patch feels like a fair estimate. I don't feel the need to own every character, and as free-to-play player you shouldn't expect to collect them all unless you get exceptionally lucky, which is an out-of-control factor. Weapons are essentially free. Each 6-star character grants 2000 arsenal tickets, enough for a guaranteed 10 pull on the weapon banner. 5 stars give 200 and 4 stars give 20. Pulling characters naturally earns you weapons pulls, but you're not limited to gacha for weapons. The game hands them out through progression tasks and you can buy them directly from the stock shop. You still need to save tickets for the 80 pull weapon guarantee, but since they're free, just spend thoughtfully. As for the cons, the game encourages building multiple characters and teams, yet resource scarcity makes that difficult. Promotion materials are limited and only respawn 2 units every 24 hours at server reset. You can grow some on the space station, but certain materials take up to 69 hours to produce. On top of that, the amount of secrets required for promotions and leveling up is so high, the scarcity of materials become a secondary problem. The character menu looks clean, but is a nightmare to navigate. Character level sits next to unintuitive skill icons, with weapon, gear and duplicate tabs completely separated. Skill and engraving management, while visible, is handled in a confusing out-of-tab manner. The same applies to other menus. Constantly switching between the escape menu and stock redistribution feels clunky. A prime example is artificing, buried in the gear assembly menu, unlocked after a quest with separate tabs for crafting and artificing. Yet you must exit to the stock redistribution terminal and select the correct region to buy wooling artificing catalyst first, or you waste time wandering through menus seeking item that isn't appearing. Shared facilities are another love it or hate it feature. After a while, I find them far more annoying than helpful. The times they genuinely assisted me are minuscule compared to how often they block paths. Players place ziplines through tunnels as if walking is impossible, or directly on top of collectibles, making them useless while the collectible remains. Memos are sometimes spammed for trolling. It feels like littering the world with garbage. There should be a toggle to hide them, and thankfully the devs have already announced they'll add a way to remove or hide shared facilities. Relay towers tied to factory progression also detract from exploration satisfaction. In wooling it's simple, place towers within 80 meters of each other. In Valley 4, you must drag wires manually, and the wire physics are frustrating. It never straightens naturally. If you need a U-turn detour over a gap, the wire retains whatever zigzag shape you drag it in, forcing repeated back and forth runs for a clean look, or just spamming towers if you don't care about aesthetics. Introducing the factory early and intertwining it with the main story is one of the game's biggest cons. It disrupts the flow and excitement of exploring a new world and following its narrative. It feels artificial, literally forced onto the player by Andre to do his work. Terraforming Talos 2 and helping people is important, but why right now? In my opinion, the factory introduction should have been delayed until at least after the first boss. The factory system itself is a make-or-break feature. Building efficient production lines is complex. Understanding input and output requirements, balancing multiple lines, and setting initial materials correctly. While the magnifying glass icon shows the full process chain for an item, some recipes require multiple parallel units and it's hard to track without a good layout. The game doesn't explicitly tell you how many output belts you need. For example, shredding carbon produces 2 powder, so you need 2 outputs to avoid clogging. Sandleaf produces 3, so you need 3 outputs. Figuring out placement and resource balance on your own can be fun for some, but not everyone will enjoy that level of micromanagement. Different building modes and their keybinds add further complexity. Normal mode with tab, overhead mode with caps lock, overhead stashing mode with additional X. Stashing mode, for example, doesn't auto-deselect moved buildings, leading to accidental stashing when clicking elsewhere. Even with the on-screen warning, it's easy to forget off-screen selection. The AC report graph also demands constant attention to balance yield and consumption so nothing clogs and profits continue growing. Overall, it's an intricate system that overwhelms early on, but once set up properly, it largely runs itself and becomes less demanding. There are too many tutorials. They babysit you constantly, then repeat the same steps via on-screen tips, leaving you struggling to recall exactly what to do. This is especially noticeable during factory placement. After learning the basics, the opposite problem arises. If you already know the process and try to skip steps during tutorials, the game forces you back to the correct step. To sum it up, Arknights Endfield is a highly polished, enjoyable game that is well on its way to become one of the best gacha titles ever made. It has setbacks, scarce resources, annoying shared facilities, clunky menus, and an initially overwhelming factory system, but overall it exudes a level of quality that silently demonstrates the developer's passion and dedication. This isn't a cheap cash grab meant to hook players and disappear, at least not yet.
We seem to have high-value supplies nearby. Keep an eye out for those.
We'll see how things evolve in the future. As of now, I genuinely recommend this game. You should definitely check it out. Before you go, please like, comment, share and subscribe if you like this video. It helps feed the algorithm and grow the channel. That's all for now. Until next time.